If you want to learn how to get nice cinematic smooth shots for your motorcycle videos like you just saw, then you've come to the right video. So whether you're a pro, whether you're a noob, if you don't know anything about camera gear or filming, videography, we're going to go over it all. As you see on the table in front of me, I have a whole selection of gear that I use to make my cinematic motorcycle shots in my videos, and you don't need all of these gear. It's not necessary to have everything you see on the table, but it certainly does help, and it really increases the production value of your videos. And most of the gear here pretty affordable too. So obviously you need some kind of camera. So when you're filming motorcycle videos, you're probably going to have an action camera because they're compact, they're lightweight, they're small. You can mount them on helmets, mount them on basically anything, and no one's going to be doing motorcycle vlogs using a big DSLR camera. So get a good action camera, stick to the main brands. I'd recommend either DJI, Insta360, or GoPro. Those are going to be your big three main brands there. Stay away from the Amazon ones that you get real cheap for like 50 or 100 bucks. It's just not going to live up to the standards of it. One other thing too to consider, whatever action camera you're filming with, you want to make sure you're not filming in just auto mode. Switch it over to manual mode or pro mode. Go to the 10-bit color, D-Log, or whatever your action camera has, and really get the full settings out of it. That way you can manipulate your footage a lot better. So the first piece of gear that I use for making smooth motion blur shots is ND filters. So I think everyone should have a set of ND filters for their action camera, and what they do is basically they block out a lot of light, so that way your camera, you can use a lot slower of a shutter speed. In turn, that gives you nice smooth motion blurs. So you're using the golden rule here. So if you're filming at, let's say, 30 FPS, you want to have your shutter speed set to 1/60. If you're filming at 60 FPS, you want to have to 1/120. So it's basically double whatever your FPS is, and that will get you nice smooth motion blur. But the problem with that is, if you do that without an ND filter, it's going to be way too bright if you're filming in the daytime, because what action cameras, the lenses that come with action cameras, they're just clear, see-through. So allowing that much light into it without an ND filter, it's going to be way too bright. So you definitely need an ND filter. Get the right ND filter for the time of day, put it on. That way you can use the correct shutter speed and you get that motion blur. So in this shot here, you can see that if you have stabilization on, it kind of creates a weird effect, because even though the camera is mounted and locked in place, the stabilization is going to try and adjust for that. It's just going to make it look weird because the bike frame is going to be moving when you want that actually stationary. So what I would recommend for these shots where you mount it to the bike is turn stabilization off. That way the foreground, which is the bike, is rigid against everything that's in the background. It just makes for a more immersive shot. So the next thing is mount. Good thing is mounts are very cheap. I use this claw style mount here, and this has been a lifesaver for me. You can get some really cool shots with this. It's basically just a little claw that you tighten on to basically any part of the bike that you can grab with your hands. So frame parts of the bike is really good to mount it onto. Tubular frames, passenger pegs, up top of the front forks, you can mount that, get some cool angles. But just experiment with it and try it and get some really unique angles. You can mount these really low to the road too, and get your audience really immersed with it. So the next thing is an external microphone is really good to have. When you're filming motorcycle content, when you're driving or riding, obviously you're going to be going fast, and the action cameras are pretty good for blocking out wind noise up to a certain point, but after that you're just going to hear straight wind noise if you just use the microphone that's built into the action camera. So what you're going to want to do is get an external microphone like this one. I'm using this microphone right here to record audio for this video. And what I do, I wrap this microphone in foam and I put it under the passenger seat of my motorcycles. So usually motorcycles will have a little storage compartment in the back, so you can put that in there, and that way it'll block out any wind noise when you're riding. So all you'll hear is the engine sound, which as motorcycle enthusiasts, we like our engine sounds. That's what we want to hear. We don't want to hear just straight wind noise, right? So get yourself a good mic and record that engine sound and kind of blend it in with your footage and make it really nice. if you don't have a passenger seat in the back to mount it to, you can always just put it in a backpack, wrap it in foam. That way it still cuts down on some of the wind noise. The next piece of gear here, which is probably the cheapest one, is just get yourself a little mini tripod. So these are great if you want to just get some B-roll of your motorcycle. Just set it up on the side of the road, mount your action camera to it, and then film yourself either driving away from the camera or driving towards the camera. And then it kind of just breaks up the video, because no one wants to watch just 15 minutes, 10 minutes of just straight helmet cam footage. So if you break up the video with these small little clips, it keeps the audience engaged, keeps them focused, and it's just nice B-roll to the video. So definitely get yourself a tripod, get creative with it. And the next one here, it's not necessary, but drones. Drones make a really good tool, really good aid to help in making a video nice and cinematic. So this drone here is just a cheap used DJI Mini version 1. I got it for like $200 or so back in the day. Just fly it up, film yourself going underneath it. If you point the camera straight down, you can make the drone follow you on the bike, let it hover and film you riding away into the sunset. Just get some nice shots with it, nice scenery. It helps out a lot. So the next gear that we're going to talk about is just a gimbal for the action camera. This isn't necessary. A lot of modern action cameras nowadays, they have pretty good stabilization in them. But if you want really, really good B-roll shots where there's absolutely no shake in it, gimbals are perfect for that. As well as if you get really creative, you can do some pretty cool things with the gimbal as well. So in this clip, I was wearing a backpack. I had a tripod inside the backpack, and then I mounted the gimbal on top of the tripod, and it was kind of filming me in almost like a third-person view. So it's just some unique things you can do with different gear. Use all the gear you have. You don't need any of this gear minus the camera to make cinematic shots. You don't need the other stuff. It's not necessary, but it certainly does help. You'll find that your production quality will go up a lot. If you like this video, check out my channel. There's other content on there relating to motorcycles, videography, everything like that. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.